can everybody stand for the pledge? Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Any agenda reorganization? Requests? No? Okay. Nothing to report from closed session. Student reports? Rochambeau? Alright. Or Sigourney?
Hi guys.
Hello.
So starting off this week, we're celebrating Staff and Teacher Appreciation with decorated staff lounges. So we've been changing it up following the Spirit Week that's alongside the Appreciation Week, which includes 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and Sports Day. Also, last week, WASP came to visit our school after 6 years. I heard that it was pretty successful, so good on that. And then AP testing has also begun last week and continues this week as well. And then lastly, the class of 2027 is hosting our Spring into Summer Carnival, which will be May 29th, 2026 from 5:30 to 7:30 at Yuba City High School. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the flyers are for your upstairs.
And then ours is a lot of the same stuff. We have our Spring Spirit Week right now. We have a festival on Friday during school with all the clubs coming out and making activities and things. And then we also have our Teacher Appreciation Week this week. We're doing breakfast cart, so they kind of get a Starbucks coffee and things rolled around to them around the campus. And then we also have our Commitment Day next Friday for all the seniors that are announcing where they're going. And then we have our Scholarship Night on Wednesday next week, the 20th. And then we have our Yuba College graduation this Friday for all the early college students.
And that would be you.
Thank you. Reports and information, King Avenue School Showcase.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Principal Araceli.
You didn't give me the clicker until I came up here. Good evening, I'm Araceli Lozoya. I am the principal at King Avenue. It's a pleasure to see you all today. I'd like to share with you what we've been working at King Avenue and what next year will look like for us, all right? So we'll start off with we're the home of the Bears, and our teacher, Mrs. Martin, came up with a slogan, and our slogan was where we are loyal to the royal within us, and so we share that with our students, and we talk about that at the beginning of the school year and throughout the year. Whoops, nope. That's not mine. Good. All right, so at the top, there's our mission and our vision. We started working with Solution Tree 4 years ago. We started working with Solution Tree and started working on our collective mission and vision statement. And the first slide is about safety, as that is something that we really work together as a team to ensure that all of our students, staff, and our families are safe when they're at King Avenue. And so what we've been working with is the district has helped us to enclose the front office. We also have now a shade structure, so we offer a lot of activities during recess, and then we also host our awards assemblies there. Professional development for all staff are the Keenan trainings, safety training, trauma-informed practices, and then, of course, our safety procedures every year at the beginning and throughout the year on what safety looks like and what are the procedures for that with Syntegex and Catapult. Our goals this year that we worked on at the top are safety, and then academics this year, we continue working with the Solution Tree and working on the PLC model, building a culture that values reflection, collaboration, data-driven instruction and intervention, and really digging into what the differences between Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 are. We also worked with UFly and a coach, math with our coach from Swan, and we've been working on a writing template for the last 4 years. We also work with, we have a literacy grant committee, and we have the lead teachers from kinder through second, our intervention teacher, and our literacy coach. What we do is we look at data, we analyze the data. What we're looking for is the gap. What happens between kinder, well, TK and kinder through second grade. And how do we stop that gap before students leave second grade and move on to third? When you leave second grade, you start reading for information. You should be reading instead of learning how to read. And so that is what we're doing, and where you're looking at the data through EduClimber, trying to figure out where our students are, they're lagging, and then try to provide that immediate intervention through Tier 2, and then if we have to, talk about Tier 3. We also have been hoping to next year to plan for a math committee, as it's been quite successful working with the literacy committee, so we'd like to move on next year to plan for a math committee, as we will have a intervention math teacher next year. So that's our next steps, and looking and doing the same steps as looking at the data, looking for that gap. Where is it widening, especially between that foundational math in the TK through second grade. So that's for next year. This year we are also our goals that our parent liaison has been working really well, and we have a parent club this year, and I brought them with me. These are my people back here. We have a full-fledged parent club. It's been great. Our parent volunteerism has jumped quite high this year. We see parents in our office and in our school every day. It's been amazing. And then, of course, family nights, and then we're working on communication, and we've introduced Girls on the Run this year. We've had 2 teachers that are running Girls on the Run, and they went to Yuba College actually 2 weeks ago, so it's been pretty cool to watch the girls do that. Social-emotional growth, we started SEL, but we also started trauma-informed and ACEs 4 years ago, and we started developing that into our PBIS. Here's our attendance data, and then how we support our attendance is, of course, through certificates, prizes. We also give prizes and make the teachers compete to see who has the best attendance in their classroom. It gets quite competitive. And we also do, attendance calls, home visits. We set goals with students that struggle with attendance. We meet with parents. And we send out quite a bit of communication and flyer information about attendance to our families and the value of coming to school and what happens if you do not attend school. PBIS, there's a lot up there, so I'll just leave it up there. We've been working on PBIS for the last 5 years. Really, again, that trauma-informed practice and teaching students how to de-escalate, teaching them those coping strategies. We had a number of students pushing out of the classroom, disrupting classrooms, struggling with student behavior. So we started learning about what de-escalation looks like. We started working one-on-one with students and started creating plans and goals to keep students in the classroom. And we've seen the number of children being suspended from 3rd grade through 5th lower. And we're really seeing the gains from teaching children about, we use zones of regulations, what their feelings are, and it's okay to have feelings, but now what do we do with them when we have them? So it's been quite a good, the last 4 years working with our students on that. Let's see, something new. We do, of course, assemblies and a lot of fun dress up. Our yard duty have been creating a monthly calendar, and we've been doing a lot of different opportunities for different sports that are non-traditional. We do clinics in tetherball, soccer, and foursquare because it gets ugly every year. So we do clinics where we're teaching just even how to bounce the ball back and forth to each other. What are the rules? We have different, we ask students, we train kids to work it out before they come see an adult. They either Rochambeau, they have to use Kelso's Choices. So we've been having a lot of fun at recess. We've been doing a lot of events like field and track. The obstacle course has been a lot of fun. The kids love that. And next year we're going to introduce cornhole and pickleball. So it's going to be fun, giving them a different taste of different games. Here's our classroom managed. And when we worked on this together, we really talked about, instead of just creating a flow chart that said what happens when you're in trouble, that working with the students on not just happens when you're in trouble, but what it does for you when you're in trouble and what it does to the people around you when you're disruptive. So we created a full flow chart that works with kids on reflection of their behaviors, why they have those behaviors, and the supports that we're going to use when you're having those behaviors. So this is for our classroom managed. And the next is for our office managed. Same idea, how we're going to work with kids on reflecting. Here are some Tier 1 supports for most of our younger children. And we started developing these between myself, the counselor, and our social worker. A lot of our kids needed the visuals. And so some of these a lot of these we take these and we laminate them, and for the ones that are really struggling, we put them on their desk and we check in with them every day talking about that. So the visuals come in handy. Being kind or unkind, that is also cut up into pieces with little Velcro, and kids have to work on that on their own, talk about it with each other, or they'll work through it through a group, through their counselor or the social worker. But we use a lot of visuals and a lot of ideas for setting goals with our students. We also do a lot of positive reinforcement. We stole this one off of Instagram. So we set a goal with the student, and we then give them the opportunity to be caught making the right choices. And when they do, the little circle in the middle is a prize of what they would like to earn or what they're working for. And down at the bottom, we created a reflective incident report so that when students do have a hard time on the playground, we're asking them to reflect on what they did and how they can make that better for themselves, and then how they will choose something differently the next time that incident arises. So this has been quite fun doing this with our students, and we do this from kinder through 5th grade. We also, catch them doing really well. We'd like to let their parents know that they're doing well. They can earn Royal Bucks. We give those students outdoor dining opportunities, and we have a bear cave that's our student store that's really popular. Gets really exciting when they earn money to go and buy the stuff that they enjoy buying. A lot of it is like art projects that we have in there, so we try to do a lot of STEM and art projects that are in there for students to have access to. And they love it, especially the art, and a lot of stuff that goes are paints, brushes, and things that they can take and sketch at home. What we worked on ELA is kind of just another review, but we discussed at the beginning. UFly, we have a hands-on coach that we work with this whole year. I walked with the coaches in through the classrooms, and as the coach gave the teachers feedback, so it gave me the opportunity to understand what was the expectation while they were in teaching that. We worked on through our mission and vision. This year we worked on the essential standards that were given to us by the district. We are currently working on common formative assessments and collaborative practices, and again using that writing for the short constructed responses and essay. And we're working through kinder through 2nd for the literacy grant. The team then goes and works with their teams, their teaching teams, the data that they're going to collect, and how they're going to analyze that data, and then they report back to us. So it's been great. Math is the same as far as having a coach with Swan. We really work closely with Dimitri. Part of that was always bringing data or evidence, making goals, and looking at the evidence to decide what the next steps were. Of course, working with the PLC are the same. And then next year, we really hope to develop that math committee and do the same as we're doing for literacy. And starting at the early TK through second to see where that gap begins and how to stop it. We did a little pilot this year for English language learners. We did designated ELD through the history and science block, where we had our teachers. One teacher was the ELD teacher for designated ELD, and then her children were separated between the others. And we used the history and science curriculums to teach listening, speaking, reading, and writing through history and science. And then we also were given this year by the district a really great tool for helping our students with the LPAC, and so our teachers use that as well. And we targeted structured critical reading strategy and vocabulary, but we're going to continue with that as we're looking at the data. That vocabulary is something that we need to reinforce and really dig into next year. We noticed that not just with our younger students for ELD, but we're noticing that vocabulary is something that really needs to be developed all the way through 5th grade. So that's going to be a goal for us next year.
Or like all the way through life.
Correct. Correct, yes. Our student and family engagement, our students have quite a bit of opportunities to do different things. We have student leadership. We did Girls on the Run, after school enrichment, after school program. Deborah Jackson is our coordinator, does an incredible job of giving our students diverse opportunities to try and learn about different, just anything. She brings them so many different opportunities, music, dance, art, and so, but then we also have, I'm lucky at King Avenue, our teachers really believe in after-school intervention, and most of our teachers provide after-school intervention and academic for our students. We have enrichment clubs, performances, band and strings is popular with our students. In fact, we have another concert next week. And next year we hope to develop a GATE class for after school that will focus on math and STEM for science. We bought some manipulative type of science and math where the students are going to have to learn how to use them on their own, and what we want them to do is have a family night where they teach our families and our students how to use those manipulatives, and they're going to create the curriculum for us. So that's going to be fun next year. Families, our parent liaison has done a great job. Those are all the classes that were offered to our families this year. Our parent liaison, Ms. Merelda Corona, has done an incredible job of bringing families back to our school, and also in distributing community resources to our families, and really working on trying to get all of our families to come back to our schools. We did have a family night where we were really excited to see a lot of our Afghani families come, and we filled one classroom, and so I got to hang out with them in a classroom and do that work about inclusion and diversity. It was a lot of fun meeting with our families. We have ELAC, we do LPAC training. We teach our parents what their students need to do and what they're going through when they take that assessment. And then again, our parent club, and Melissa's here, she's our president, has done a great job. Our front office is decorated every month. We see them everywhere. They're working in the gardens in the back. They're volunteering for all, anything that we need volunteers for, or extra hands, they're there. And it's been great to have our parent club and our parent liaison working so closely. We have site council. We were working with our families and our staff and reviewing data, and then giving us feedback on their wants and needs for their children. And then, of course, our social worker, along with our counselor, work really with our families and providing those community resources, especially with mental health. She's always working with our children and our families for that. This is from the California dashboard. It's really small, as you can see, but those are our demographics. We have 409 students this year. It's the first time King Avenue has gone over 400 students in a long time, I heard. We have 2 SDC classrooms, a 1st and 2nd grade, and a 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We have 2 TK classrooms and a state preschool on our site. So We have really young ones from 3 years old all the way up to 5th grade.
Remind me what SDC is again?
Special day class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So of course, we have Mrs. Alvarez for first and second, and Mrs. We call her Miss Selena, but it's Andrade for third, fourth, and fifth. Just amazing teachers who do amazing work. And then our focus, a lot of the same what we've already discussed. Really what we're really working towards, of course, is that PLC, that tiered instruction and intervention. And then we worked on unpacking our essential standards this year. That I thought it was a lot of fun. I get mocked a lot because I think that kind of stuff is fun, but I do love it. We did unpacking, we created targets, we assigned a DOK level, and then we started creating common formative assessments. Again, a lot of fun. And then we're working on the tier 2. Tier 2 is that we created 2 different opportunities for 30 minutes each, one for English and one for math. Our teachers get a paraprofessional so they can do small group instruction with 2 adults in the classroom. And so we're doing that for both ELA and for math. And then, of course, we did the designated ELD through history and science. Give our students more different access to different material to read, too. Another goal was to reduce the number of students being sent out of class. We've been able to do that. Provide instruction for de-escalating. We do that as well. And this year we had professional development with Ada Terry on equitable and inclusive school culture, and then we're working on always encouraging our parents to come to our campus and feel like they can participate and be a part of our campus. And then this is next year. We're going to continue with a lot of what we began with. The new for next year, of course, is that math committee and our new math intervention teacher. That'll be exciting. And then we're going to also target specific student subgroups next year. According to the dashboard, we really need to work and support our students in special education and second language speakers. So looking at the data, that is something that, those are 2 huge subgroups that are going to be in my SIPSA, working with my site council and working on programs to see how we can see the growth in those 2 subgroups for next year. Continuing with Tier 2, we're going to do a book study next year. It is called Untangling Data-Based Decision Making. And our coach will be working with us through that, and we purchased a book for everybody. We also invite our paraprofessionals to the trainings, and we train our paraprofessionals. We have our paraprofessionals trained in UFly as well. So anything that's academic, we invite our paraprofessionals to attend so that they know what's going on for our goals. We'll continue working on increasing student attendance, student participation, and providing, we'd like to do more assemblies. We're working with TK through second and have some ideas for early literacy family nights where we want to help our families understand that they can teach literacy at home too, and having to speak English is not a necessity. And we are going to do a math and an English, and then for 30 minutes each, and then we're going to swap. We'll do a family night about every other month and invite our families and just teach them the different games and ideas, but it's still literacy and math and what they can do like from the car at home. And so they're really excited about that for next year. Forgot to add in there that we also give a swag bag at open house from TK through second. It's a lot of different, there's scissors, color crayons, all kinds of. It's a sheet with different QR codes, how to keep your child busy and learning during the summer while it's vacation. And so we do that for TK through second, and our families love it. So it's like a little summer fun to keep them busy instead of watching, or playing video games or something. We're also going to develop a student job opportunity where they can apply to help out about the school so they can earn bare bucks. It's really popular. Kids want to help clean to earn money, and I thought, why not? And kind of create kind of like a little cute application where they could apply and do different things like dusting or sweeping or picking up stuff. So that's something we're going to do for our students. We're also going to add a couple of garden boxes, so that'll give our students an opportunity for course beautification, parent engagement. We're going to train our parents to kind of help our students and volunteer and teach them how to clean out the garden boxes or keep them going. But it's also a great alternative for de-escalation and giving our kids a little bit of quiet time with nature and getting their hands dirty for a little bit and helping them calm down. And it'll make our school look nice as well. We're also hoping to work on facilities. We need storage. So I've been working with Mr. Button on remodeling the boiler room and turning that into a new book room as we need the space. And that's about it for our goals. And of course, these are all the people that work at King Avenue that make King Avenue work every day. I could not do this alone, and I'm very blessed to have amazing people with me every day doing the great work. So I wanted to make sure that they were recognized for it's a great place to work every single day. Some days are really great and fun, and some days are a little bit harder, but we all do the great work together and we laugh at the end of the day, so that's all that counts. Do you have any questions?
Yes, a couple. Thank you so much for that. I feel like I've just drank through a fire hose.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And I was curious because I was at your I wanted to like zoom out because having listened to these and that sort of thing, I guess my question is with regards to King Avenue, like your culture there as a team, like what makes King Avenue where you feel like this is our strength, this is what we're better than any other school in this district?
I think what makes our strength at King Avenue is that when it comes down to supporting one another, regardless if it's an academic work, if it's about a student, that King Avenue staff will always support one another and supporting each other to support our students.
Okay.
And that's what makes our culture.
So you have like a team mentality there where nobody's out to be the king. They're like that.
Well, that's why we're all royal to, within us. So that's what we're, no, I don't believe so. I certainly don't think that anybody can lead and expect to just be the only king. You have to share and you have to bring everybody's input and feedback. And that's what I've been working on for 5 years. And I can say that my staff can come to me and say, I have an idea, or what about this? And we all have an idea about doing something that's for our students, and so we're all talking about it and collaborating on it.
So when you think about I love having goals with numbers, attached to them, like this is where we've been and this is where we are. And when you think about where you are, there's a lot on here. What is your vision for what King Avenue can be? What is this is maybe where we are, but really this is the practical, not just hearts and rainbows,
right. I know. So academically, what I'd like to see are the number of students less and less needing phonemic awareness support beyond second grade. And if we could do that, that is our first major goal. And that's what the literacy committee is doing. So where is that gap, right? So, and who are the specific students, and always highlighting the specific students and knowing where they are, but not just waiting 6 weeks or half a year to say this student has struggled with phonemic awareness and then reading, but we should know who is struggling every week and what are we going to do about that. And so that's the academic goal that I would like King Avenue and our teams would like to work on together, and that quick intervention and that constant monitoring of our students and intervening immediately. And if it doesn't work, what are we going to do next? So academically, that's where I'd like to be for ELA for now. And then for math, again, So that number fluency, right, that number sense, where does that fall off and where does that gap begin? So that's where that math committee will start looking at our curriculum, our strategies, our interventions, and our assessments. What are we doing and how do we know who is struggling and what are we doing about it? And not just waiting that 6 weeks. So academically, I just really would like to walk away that King Avenue becomes a strong PLC where they're using data to make informed practices about their teaching, be reflecting on their teaching, and they're intervening as quick as they can to see who needs support.
Thank you.
You also do a nice Thanksgiving lunch.
I know, and I forgot to add the VIP. Isn't that funny? Yeah, we do.
That's a unique trait that you guys do, or unique.
We do that every Thanksgiving. The community comes out and serves from the district and from the community, and it is very popular, and our families come out. And we had it. I think we had to cut it down to one family member this year just because it's so popular, and it was kind of hard to make sure that everybody could come to that. So yes, thank you. I did forget to include that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay, next we have intern presentation by Care, led by Harmeet.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having us back. The interns have put together a very special presentation recapping this year's events that they've held. So I'm going to share a little bit about the internship. CARE is a statewide peer-led initiative that focuses mostly on harm reduction and substance use prevention. We have about 6 school districts across California through which high school interns work closely with school faculty and local health departments to host on-campus and community events to educate peers.
Okay, so I'll do a brief recap of some of the events that we had this year. So throughout the school year, we hosted various tabling events at both of our campuses for certain causes such as alcohol awareness, fentanyl awareness, mental health, Red Ribbon Week, each attracting over 100 students at each campus. We also hosted a town hall in March where we shared our work with over 60 community members as well as a movie night. Beyond our community, we were able to present our work, the work we've done at the annual Sick Callers conference at Stanford University, and we've had multiple meetings with our principal in regards to getting Narcan training approval for teachers to have Narcan more accessible in our classrooms in case of an emergency, as well as discussions about how to make our wellness room more accessible for our students. And to get more inspiration on how we can improve our wellness room, we visited Albert Powell's wellness room, how they facilitate their space for their students. And now that I've done a brief overview of what we've done this year, the rest of the interns will go more into detail.
So our interns at both YC and RV have been tabling on campus throughout the year. So we've done Alcohol Awareness Week, Fentanyl Awareness Week. We did a lot for Red Ribbon Week and Mental Health Awareness. And at the tablings, we also include stuff about the Cal Kids Scholarship to make sure people can redeem their scholarship money.
And then Town Hall is one of CARE's biggest events. We invited the community to come join us to learn more about topics such as mental health and fentanyl. We also invited a guest speaker to share their personal experiences on these topics, and we made it a fun event by incorporating games like a Kahoot and Four Corners. Over 60 people attended and actively participated in our activities and presentations, so it was a successful event overall.
Another important event we attended was the Youth Quest, which was held at the state capitol. It was held by the Cyan Youth Board, and it was in order to advocate against tobacco. And we attended a march and we chanted against tobacco industries targeting youth in our society today. And we also held conferences with political leaders at the state capitol about what we can do to prevent tobacco usage in our communities.
So next I will be going over the general idea of a wellness center. A wellness center gives students a quiet space to calm down and manage stress, as well as their setting during any overwhelming moments. Having access to a wellness room can improve focus and emotional regulation by helping students and being able to help students return to class more prepared to learn. Wellness rooms promote mental health awareness and shows that schools value students' well-being as much as academics. These spaces can also help prevent conflicts, anxiety, escalation, and burnouts, providing healthy coping resources and support.
Okay, so I'll be talking about what's next for the CARE program in Yuba City. So we hope to continue holding tabling and town hall events in the community so we could reach not just students but also community members. And then we also want to continue to make efforts into making Narcan more available and also improving our wellness center. And what we plan to do is to work hard with our counselors so they could apply for grants for money that we could use to make the wellness centers welcoming, useful, and effective.
Now let's focus on some of the concluding facts. So over the course of this term, we worked with school officials. So those are inclusive of our principals and counselors to identify real needs. And then we analyzed students. So whatever happened at the tabling, we found the results, and participation only grew after every tabling. So that means awareness was spreading. And then we presented our statistics, metrics, and all measures of data and numerous awareness-oriented events. So that's Stanford Scholars, Town Hall, and Movie Night. And then we revitalized the school wellness centers to foster support for our students and the incoming student body. And then we're looking to enhance the Welcome Wellness Center on campus. And then we'll be doing that by getting input from not only the current class, but the incoming class. Then we hope to work with our counselors to turn our ideas into action. And thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us present today and last time.
Thank you. Alright, moving on, new district office design.
Thank you. You guys don't want to stay?
The exciting stuff.
We're going through contracts. Why is my mic even on?
Hot mic. So we had a board facilities committee meeting last Wednesday. Wanda Lamb, Jasmine, and Greg Quilty attended that. And really what we wanted to do was go through the design of the district office. We've been working with the board to get the district central staff permanent housing for a long time now, and so this is just a recap of the process for that. I also actually, before we go too much further, I want to introduce the district's architect. Julian Watt is here from LPA Architects, and so he will, once we get to the slides, he'll kind of walk us through the actual design. I don't know, we've been looking, the Yuba City Unified School District has been looking for permanent housing for the district office for quite some time. About a year ago, we hired DCG Strategies to look at the best path forward for this, what it would cost, and what we thought, would be, again, how does the district office get into a building at a reasonable cost that's going to be a long-term solution? So there's 4 different ideas or methods that we looked at. One, option A, was just finding facilities that were move-in ready, and that is a very hard task to do for any organization, especially a school district which has very unique needs, like a boardroom like this. Option B was really purchase a building and convert it into usable space. And you can kind of see the cost range there. Move and ready, $3 to $5 million. Option B is converting it 7 to 12 million, and then option C is just building it from scratch, 10 to 14 million. Option D was just looking at this building that we're currently in and leasing it. And this is an updated figure because when DCG's Strategies did this analysis, they didn't know what the lease would be, but now we have newer information because the VA downstairs renewed their lease. We have that information, so we just kind of applied that per square foot to our square footage up here, and roughly it's about $725,000 a year, and they were looking for a 10-year plus lease, so that didn't really seem like a good permanent solution. But that's what we originally looked at. The district found 2 buildings that kind of fit in between A and B. And what I mean by that is, and you'll see in the design, we're able to use a lot of the existing building, but they're still remodeled because you're still making adjustments to it. So the remodel timeline, we're right in the middle of this. We're actually right in the middle of kind of that step 2 and step 3 schematic design. We're going to go through that in a minute. And then we're also out to bid for a contract to do the remodel right now. And then the next stages would be developing the construction documents, going through permitting, and then it's really going straight into construction. So to meet kind of our deadline by December, because December is when the lease is up in this building. It is an aggressive timeline. We know that, and we'll talk about how that can play out, and also if we have to go to a plan B, we have some options for that as well. So our contractor selection, we're doing a lease-back mechanism that really provides benefits for a school agency or a public agency. Gives us more control over the contractor, selection of the contractor, not required to just take the lowest price. Reduces the time of construction, and time is of the essence when it comes to this project, trying to get it all done by December. And the selection criteria is listed up there, but essentially it emphasizes experience, strength of the personnel, safety record, and cost as well. And that is what we are out right now. We've advertised out, so we expect some bids back in. We hope to select a contractor by June 9th, I believe, is the date for that. Okay, so I'm going to let Julian kind of help walk through this a little bit. So we have 2 buildings. This is the 1,000 suite, and this is the before, basically, the remodel.
Yeah, what you're going to see is 2 different plans of 2 different buildings. So the first plan here, all the dashed lines indicate what's being demolished. And so both buildings had different uses. This one had a series of inboard offices and a large front reception counter, but didn't have much of a space to actually flow into. Size-wise, it's quite nice. That large room off to the right-hand side is suitable for this space. So that was a good bit of a boon in terms of the floor plan. So we've managed to, the intent for both of these buildings is, as Scott said, to touch the least amount of things we can. Because the more we touch, the more it costs, essentially. So if you go to the next plan, Scott. And so what we've done here is maintain many of the offices around the perimeter. Those now have glazed doors and glazing on their internal walls to try and let as much natural light as you can still into the central area. You can see in the middle there on the left-hand side, there's some cubicles ghosted in, and that's where they will be located for the key staff members. We've located things like the break lounge in the same similar spot in the building where a previous lounge was, so plumbing and electrics already there. Reception provides a main front entrance and point of control for the building, which is good. And then off to the right, then sets up the parameters for the boardroom and then a closed session conference room straight off that as well.
Yeah, so this building again was a little bit more, set for some of our needs. You didn't have to move bathrooms or anything like that. The lounge, the staff areas stay the same, and the big room for the boardroom. So now we'll move to the.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Go ahead. You had your hand raised.
Sorry. So this is also the building with that weird set of stairs that goes to one room.
Yes.
What is that room going to be?
So it's not.
It's not a room. It's a really comfortable ladder, should we say, for access to the attic. It's not a habitable space. There's no rooms up there. There's essentially an IT closet on that upper level. It's a bit of an odd one because they've framed it out, but because of the way the structure works, you can't actually store a lot up there either from the weight perspective.
And we talked about tearing it out, that kind of stuff, but we didn't think we'd get much out of it, and it just cost more money when you start doing that kind of stuff. So
yeah, so it's just left as it is. Yeah.
And then the cubicles, but when you go to the slide previous,
yes,
are those hard walls that you're knocking down? Is that what?
Yes. Correct. Yeah, those are being knocked down, so we can have greater open space, more light coming through. At the moment, if you go in there and you don't have the lights on, it's pitch black all the way through. It's
depressing.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing with these things is we want to touch as least amount as you can. Whatever we do, we need to do it well, so like a base minimum you need to do. And then whatever touch we need to do a good job. This is about your stuff, not only for attention, but also for equipment. And so do the best we can with the building available.
Okay, thank you.
On to the other building, and this is a before.
Yes, this one was, it was previously
it was
cosmetology.
Cosmetology.
I was trying to think of the right terminology. So a lot of different services in that building at the time. So a number of the walls are going to come out to turn this into an office in the next frame. Again, this one sets up quite a nice frame for the cubicles to the upper section of the plan. This building, both buildings are feeding off the first one we saw in terms of the sense that that's the public face. So what we didn't say before is that was where the reception is. Mm-hmm. That's a natural point for the program inside that building, but also going into the boardroom like we are today. So it gives that natural point. This building doesn't have a reception in it, so there's a relationship between the two in terms of public to get to this building. There is a secure sort of entryway in there and a sort of sit-down spot which you can get met. This will have HR, business services in it, and also the superintendent's offices.
And this, when we had our meeting, we had a lot of discussion. Actually, I thought a lot of good board participation on what we were doing in this, and actually we made some design changes because of that discussion. There's this kind of, see if I can point to it, but
might not bounce on that.
Yeah, it's not really. So this kind of on the bottom right section, right there, yeah. There's this kind of dead space before, so we had a lot of discussion about, can we do something that's more productive in there, because we don't have a lot of space, so we just want to make the best use of it. And so after that discussion, we really kind of made that. There was also discussion about, is there room for growth? And there wasn't really, but this is an area that we don't have a dedicated use for right now, but it could be a little room for growth. We were able to shorten up this technology closet a little bit and kind of make this bigger space. But in this whole building, the bottom right corner is the superintendent's office and a conference room. Top right is HR, and HR staff would be over to the kind of left middle. And then on the left side, you have business, accounting, and business staff in the middle, and then a staff room down in the bottom left corner. So good use of space.
So Tino got kicked out of the club.
What's that?
Tino got kicked out of the club.
Yeah, well, or maybe Tino's in the cool club. I don't know.
Now, what is the lactation room?
It's a lactation room. It's a lactation room / wellness room /
You have to have one
you have
on
to have
every
one.
site.
Code required.
Schools, everything.
what is the I mean, aside from breastfeeding, what is the use for it? Like,
it's also a moment for different staff to have essentially a timeout, not in the sense of a parent telling their child to have a timeout, but actually just to decompress. Something's going on. They can go and basically relax for a bit, and then come back out to the rest of the office.
But the requirement is for the lactation.
The code requirement.
so then is it because for the lactation purposes, is that deemed female?
It's not a female-only room. It'll be lockable, so it's addressable that you can see that it's being used and used.
Oh, so it's one person. It's a single use.
It's a single-use, one-person room. You can identify who's using it. How you want to set it up is essentially up for the district. In other offices that we do, it's a combined room that can be used by many and can usually be booked up.
What is the hardware in there? Like
normally it's a small under-counter fridge. Otherwise, there's a minimum distance between the room itself and a suitable fridge in a staff room.
We have to provide
a comfortable desk.
a private locking space for the expression of breast milk, and the legal requirements for that are that it either have or be near a place to wash hands, a place to have the refrigeration aspect, but it also has to have electricity so that it could run an expression pump if needed. And so all school sites, all businesses have to have a location on our school sites. We have a number of rooms and options, but in an office building such as this, if you have the opportunity to create a legally compliant space that could also serve as something else when it isn't needed, but you are compliant when it is needed, that's the requirement.
Thank you.
Yeah, inside is essentially a comfortable chair for the.
So I recognize that this is not a very readable or presentable page, but this is.
But we have it in the folder.
In the folder, right? But
Jasmine has a question.
I have a question, and I think Mary Lee has a question too.
On the design part?
Well, I just want to. So those are all cubicles at the top there?
Yes.
Yeah, and for the sort of lighter shade, yes.
Okay.
I appreciate, like, I'm trying to figure out what's new, but I do see what's new. Like, there's changes that you guys made, and I appreciate you guys taking into consideration what was talked about in that meeting. My question is, like, when we talked about the interior windows, is that something that's still on this?
It is, yes.
Okay, and then when I'm looking at the walls on building 1000, so the walls that you're putting up, like when I'm looking at the exterior windows, it looks like it's dividing the exterior windows, so is there going to be...
Well, those are existing walls, so we're not taking them down, I think is...
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so the exterior, the walls for offices 1 through 7...
Yeah, those are all existing.
Those are not going to get changed?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's normally what happens is you'll hit the back of the mullion. Sometimes there'll be a jog on the wall to hit the mullion, the vertical aluminum of the glazing system. But those walls are existing, we're not changing
Okay.
them out here.
Okay.
So, any other questions? So the cost for the renovation is at the bottom here. It's $2.6 million. It includes, that's for both buildings. It includes some contingencies. And there's some discussion about that at that point in the facilities committee. So we don't have all the construction documents. We haven't gone through permitting. So basically, there's an allowance just in case we have to make some changes and there's additional construction costs. We don't know exactly what's going to come of that, but it's basically a budgeting tool for that. $2.6 million for the remodel. We looked at other things when we wanted to get some cost estimates because this plan doesn't touch upgrading the bathrooms or doing some additional acoustic, modifications. We wanted to get an idea what those costs were. At the end of the day, we felt that they would be nice to do, but not necessary to do. So we just, to keep costs as low as possible, we decided not to move forward with the alternatives that are on here. And like I said, a lot of those were costs associated with restroom upgrades and some walls and acoustic designs there.
There's not a requirement for us to have like a lactation room in both offices, right? As long as we're one entity.
Right, I believe that's yeah.
Similar to a school campus that may have multiple buildings, we don't have one in each building, but at that work site.
Because we're right there.
This just outlines the architecture, engineering, and design costs. So the total cost that includes everything from schematic designs to creating the construction documents to getting through the permitting and approval process, and to actually, when you're going, you have your contract and you're going through it, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as the building out of it, so the contract administration. There's other things involved as well as inspections and permitting. So the total cost for all the soft costs is what we call it is $353,000 for that.
I noticed you had a line item under the main CSI summary, line item 23, the HVAC at $128,000. Are we having to redo duct work, or I didn't think this was an older building?
Well, it's not that. It's just that when you move walls and stuff like that, you have to get the right airflow. So actually, it's not my expertise. I'll let the architect take that part.
So at the moment, this is the first estimate based on the first plans you've seen. So they're 15% along the journey to what they would become as the final construction documents. And so as Scott said, the is around what we need to move and adjust in the spaces to ensure that there's enough there. There's an allowance at that point before any engineering's actually happened because of the load that we expect in this space in the boardroom in the existing plan, because it wasn't designed to have that many people in one space. So our expectation is that we'll have to add cooling capacity over and above what the building currently has, because it had a use that was more spread out, less people in that one room. But that will come out in the next finishing the phase we're doing right now, because our mechanical engineers are on board to confirm that assumption, whether it's correct or not.
Okay, thank you. So mechanical engineers, I mean, they haven't looked at this. This is just architectural right now.
It's architectural, but what's in there is it's a third-party estimator who's very good at what they do, and so seeing what we've got in terms of limited design right now, they add in allowances for what they expect to come from other engineers doing that work as we go through.
But they're not looking specifically at. They're just saying, in general, this is typically when you're going from this to this.
They're putting that allowance based on what they believe they need and the conversations we've had. It may be that the mechanical is higher than it needs to be, but to manage expectations, that's the first starting point.
Okay, thank you.
So the other part that we talked about and was important from a funding perspective is not to touch our Fund 1, which is our main funding source. So we looked at other funds that are geared towards capital projects, and we have a few funds that we can tap for this. So we have some money in Fund 40 and 41. It's about $2.5 million, and Fund 49 is the fund that we talked about just recently when we were looking at doing our school renovations. About $23 million. We think we can use about $500,000 of that. So all of this will not touch Fund 1. We have resources that are dedicated to capital projects or construction projects that we can use for this. And I would say the last part is this just kind of summarizes some of the discussion and input from the committee. We already talked about bullet 1, basically how do we use this space in the most efficient way. So we took that and we redesigned it to some degree to make a little bit better use of the space. And there's a good point that came up. What if we don't get this done, by December? And so Doreen was able to reach out to Sutter County Superintendent of Schools, and they have some additional space that, if we have to, we can utilize to, if construction takes a little bit longer than we're expecting. So that was very nice of them and a good alternative for us. And then also we kind of talked about funding. We're spending some money on this. We know the district has some surplus property, so does it make sense to start looking at that to see if we sell it or lease it to, replenish some of these dollars that can go back into the schools? So there was some discussion about that, and so that can be a future topic. There's a whole process to go through. If you want to sell a property, you have to form a committee, a 7-11 committee is what they call it, to see if the district, make sure the district doesn't have a need for it, and make sure it's the right thing for the district to do to sell or dispose of that property. So I think that's a good future thing to do for the district.
Do we have it, like, when you're saying the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools having space, I know we briefly talked about it, is it like Boyd Hall, is it?
Yeah, it's the Boyd Hall, and then also a need for a boardroom, so Tom had to do that over time, so when I talked to him, whatever we would need, he'd make available for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is if it was to go over and some like delays or whatever, how long do we anticipate? I know we're already on a tight crunch because by the time you get approval and can start going or whatever, we're already practically in June, essentially, right? How much longer do you think it'll be? If you're thinking December, are we talking a month or two?
That's kind of where my head's going, 1 to 3 months, but it's sometimes you don't know. But that's where my head's going, is I think, we're shooting hard for this December deadline, but I think 1 to 3 months is a reasonable expectation if you have a delay.
Your biggest benefit is doing the lease back, because it means you get a contractor on early, and so they can mobilize and be ready as soon as the plans come out. And it means they already know what the design is, the longer lead items, things like getting the millwork made, things that can be understood beforehand, as opposed to then trying to get on somebody's orders to get it teed up.
Well, and you guys talked about in the meeting too about the differences, which you kind of, are you getting to that slide about like the lease back and how you're choosing contractors and stuff, or did you pass that?
Yeah, we passed it, but it's right back there. Yeah. So again, as Julian was saying, the biggest benefit that we see is reducing the time of construction, getting them on early, having them part of the process of helping some of the design, and so they understand what they need to do, and they can advise us a little bit on some of the construction process.
So what is the next step?
So the next step is we have an action item today that will approve the architecture contract, so that will get us going on all the major steps. We kind of we're up through the design, which is not, just drawings at this point right now. It's putting that into real construction documents. And then and at the same time, we're already out to advertising for the contractor. So those things will happen parallel, and we'll get the contractor, we'll get the start developing the plans, and then start going through permitting.
When will the plans be done?
And let me get to the timeline. So here's the timeline. So, construction documents, June through July, and then there could be a little back and forth on the city permitting after that.
Mm-hmm. When do we have our next government liaison meeting?
This week.
Thursday. Oh, okay. That would be nice to let them know that we have this coming through, and if
we've actually already had a heads up with a building department.
Expeditious.
Yep, we've kind of already talked to them a little bit about that.
No, city's better than county, so probably better than. Neither of them are great. Sounds like.
Hey, I think they're super. They're going to be our friends for this
They've already
process.
worked with us on this project in terms of needing some documentation done, so the city's aware that we're in this process.
Cool.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
There is one comment from items not on the agenda from the public. Please read the notice.
The Brown Act, specifically Government Code Section 54954.2, provides that no action or discussion shall be taken on any item unless it is adequately described in a timely posted agenda. Accordingly, though the public may comment on matters within the board's jurisdiction that do not appear on the agenda, the board cannot respond to such comments without running the risk of deliberating or initiating discussion on topics not properly before the board. Given the prohibitions set forth in the Brown Act and the risk associated with responding to public comments, the board does not respond to the community's questions associated with responding to public comments. The board does not respond to the community's questions or comments. The board will respect the rights of the public to express their viewpoints on matters within the board's jurisdiction. However, comments that are defamatory or that violate the privacy rights of any students or individuals may not be protected by law. The board shall not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of board meetings.
Thank you. We have Craig Weaver.
Well, this has been exciting so far, I can tell you that. So, no, it's interesting. But I'm here to represent the Child Evangelism Fellowship, particularly Good News Club chapter in our area. So, all the Child Evangelism Fellowship is, as the name would indicate, is when we want to share the gospel of Christ with kids, right? We want to share biblical accounts and the biblical account of Jesus' ministry, death, and resurrection to little kids so they can understand who he is and make their own decision about whether or not they choose to follow him. So it's been around since 1937. There's 84,000 clubs worldwide. There are over 100 just in our local area, just the counties around here. And the kids love them. So we got to attend one over in Yuba County. There are 3 clubs operating at 3 schools in Yuba County. Can I ask Gina to help you with that one? I didn't write it down.
Cedar Lane, Johnson Park, and Elementary.
Yeah. And for how long?
3 years.
Okay. And we got to attend one, and the kids dug it. So kids stay voluntarily after school with parental consent, and we teach them about Jesus, we play games, we sing songs, and then we make sure they get to who they need to get home safely. So I think in your own policy it says that the board recognizes that schools are an important community resource and encourages community members to make appropriate use of school facilities. And pursuant to the enabling statute for that in the Ed Code, for the effective management and control of school facilities and grounds, the superintendent or designee shall maintain procedures and regulations that aid and encourage and assist groups in desiring to use school facilities for approved activities. So we met with the superintendent, Gina did, and we were approved, which is great. But the stipulation is we have to come in after 6 p.m. And this is really designed to be an after-school club. So we're trying to get the primary kids and give them a place to come right after school. So that at night, at 6 o'clock, they can be home with their family around the dinner table, which studies seem to show is beneficial. So we'd like to just have them after school when they're probably either waiting for their folks to get home from work, or maybe sitting with a sitter, or maybe we're saving them from doing their chores one day a week. But we would just like to have the opportunity to work with these kids directly after school. We want to impact the school facility. We've always been very mindful of the stuff that are in the rooms. There's other schools that allow us to use the rooms. It's right after school, so the kids don't need to go home and then try to come back in the evening, which is kind of counterproductive. So our plea is just to be able to do the club at April Lane. We've already determined it's beneficial. It's an appropriate use of the place. We just would like to do it at a different time. That still doesn't impact the instruction. So my 3 minutes are up.
Thank you, Craig. Okay. Any questions on consent agenda? No. Make a motion.
You have to ask a question?
No.
They can? Oh, they can.
I make a motion we approve consent agenda.
Second.
On a motion by Member Dami, second by Member Ciola, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion.
So with tonight's action, I would like to introduce the principal for the 26-27 for Terra Point Elementary School, Harpreet Thakura, in the audience. So welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. Action A. Math.
Yay.
I'm not even gonna talk about that.
Moving forward to the 26-27 school year, as we engage our staff in a new curriculum, we're seeking approval to purchase new math manipulatives for our K-8 schools. Currently, we have a grant that's expiring on June 30th. That will be used to purchase these materials. We'd like to use that grant as soon as possible to purchase materials for our K-8 schools for next year.
How do you pronounce that?
Dynax.
Dynax. Okay, I was not gonna say that.
So, my question is, I mean, I've seen math manipulatives before, but these math manipulatives are $375 a piece for pre-K and TK, and then you go up to $640. I'm like, is there an Apple TV? Is there like a, what is in these? Like that they are so expensive? Because the math manipulators I'm thinking of are like the little colored, shapes, and then the, what is it? Base 10 blocks, and I've used math, and the clock. Do we teach that anymore? But
They do teach the clock.
Okay.
They teach the clock.
Like for fractions and all of that, but like.
But do they teach the fluctuating?
You can get that for $20. Easy. Those manipulators. So why are these ones $370?
So comparing to competitors, it's very, it is expensive. So that's true. Manipulatives, curriculum, every year seem to be more expensive, so I agree with you.
But you could literally buy these through Amazon for like $40 maybe. So unless there's something in it that I don't know about.
Well, they do align with Math and You, which is coming at our next board meeting. We're going to talk about that's the curriculum we're going to be seeking approval for. And it is a little different because they are math manipulatives, but they do get more expensive. So if you look at comparable rates, they're similar prices. They come in
It's like
packs.
prevailing wages for.
Yeah.
No, I'm about to pull it up on Amazon.
They are.
They come in tubs. They have very different base count, counting tens, blocks. I mean, there's a whole
Yeah, but it's like we
range of
can't
things.
use Amazon. Can we? We can't.
No,
and besides
but
that,
here's the thing, when it comes to this stuff, you need continuity, right? And I think that's also one of the things of, you want things that are streamlined across all school sites, so all the kids get the same access to all the same
And
things.
Kirsten, you're talking about math manipulatives for every kid in that classroom.
I understand
goes
what we're
with
talking
that
about.
thing. I mean, you can't.
No, I'm talking, Marilee,
You
I'm
can't
talking
spend-
the per item price. So you see on the quantity is 20, right, if you go pre-K. The unit price is $375. Look, if it was $375 for an entire class, like, girl, let's go, that's fine. But it's $375 each, and the total price is $7,500.
But that's for the
that's
whole.
one class.
That's for the whole year. That's for every unit in that math book. So
And it's
those are
also
many-
a one-time cost, usually, unless things break or whatnot, right? It's a one-time cost, it's something that's every year that we have to replenish it, right? It's a one-time.
No, this is a one-time.
Yeah.
Until the math changes and the standards change and our
Which is
curriculum
probably
changes, and
gonna
then
be
for
like another
continuity
8 years,
purposes,
9
we're gonna
years
get
from
another
now.
one. I'm just saying, it's crazy. They are totally raking you over the coals. This is-
Is there ever an option to be able to negotiate some of these prices?
Yeah, we do.
So they came back with something even more than that? What is their number?
It's 100, so the tax is 10,000, discount, they have $26,000.
It's gonna
Yeah, it
call.
is expensive. It does, but like I'm saying, it's aligning with every single specific unit. It's very robust. They come in tubs. It's a huge quantity of them. It aligns with where we're going with Cengage. So
How many students is this serving?
every single kid, TK8.
And is it one school?
No, districts.
The entire
So every kid gets their own, not every kid gets their own manipulative kit, it's for each classroom.
So, Tino, if I'm looking at this correctly, you're ordering 45 for kinder at 13,500. So the total cost of 159,000 is district-wide for every TK through 8th grade class.
The only question that I have, and I appreciate, Tino, that you answered it, I just wanted to see what the alignment is between these manipulatives and the curriculum that we're choosing. I didn't want it to be that we're choosing this curriculum and then we're buying from Amazon or from a different third party or whatever, because the textbook, when you go from unit to unit, calls for certain manipulatives to be used, right? And so I wanted that. So to me, that it's reassuring. And in all honesty, as somebody who's taught math as well to special needs kiddos, I appreciate the fact that we're spending money on manipulatives. I know we've spent money before on other curriculum, but I think that it is very important to be able to have class sets and classrooms to be able to teach these concepts, especially like even how LaZoya was talking about foundational math gaps that kids have. These types of tools are, when used, appropriately, and hopefully our textbook is going to be phenomenal. When they're used appropriately, I think they just enhance learning. So I'm fine with the $375 price tag for each one. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
Okay, on a motion by member Dami, second by member Bonsley, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Designation of YCSD CIF rep.
Thank you. So annually, by Ed Code, we need to designate our CIF representatives to the athletic league that represents our district and also can vote on our behalf. So this is the names that are being submitted to CIF on behalf of Yuba-City Unified.
I make a motion we approve.
Second. On a motion by member Dunn, second by member Lamb, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. C, special services agreement with Sutter County Probation.
So this is our 26-27 agreement with Sutter County Probation for our probation officers. So I believe it's 3 and 1 truancy. Right? 3 and 1 truancy officer.
Can I ask a question? I know in other meetings and stuff, we've had conversation, it doesn't necessarily have to do with probation, but it talks about like our incarcerated youth, right? Are these people that we hire or have contracts with, are they somebody that can help us navigate some of the issues that we have with kids that, like when we're not given information and all of that good stuff? Is
So
that,
certain
or is it
privacy-
tricky?
Well, that's tricky because some of the privacy laws on the legal end, and so they can only share certain information with us. But they, as much as they can, they do assist us with that type of information when they can share it with us.
So it's more organizational issues.
It's actually law in terms of what they can share and can't share with us. So, but part of what they do is not just necessarily those kids who are incarcerated or on probation. They work with our at-risk kids as well.
Yeah. No, I'm just
So
separate
yes.
issues.
Like it.
Yes.
Like in FRA, they couldn't tell me things about our kids that were coming from
I get it, but
That was unfortunate.
What I'm saying is, at like some of the student council, like some of those conversations about not getting information or not that they're not being transparency. That's what I was getting at with regards to this, but that's.
Yeah, it's separate, but we are working with Juvenile Hall and the different agencies to try to plan ahead of time when these students and children are being released. So we've been working on a multi-agency way to communicate with one another.
I think they hired a new position at Sutter County for the transition.
Yes, they did.
Between expulsion and coming to the continuation school.
We've been working
They
together.
facilitate to help the parents.
And according to the contract, it's 4.
Yes, three probation officer and one that specifically works with us on truancy.
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
On a motion by member Dami, second by member Ciocciola, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. MOU between Sutter County Superintendent Schools and YCSD for expanded learning support.
We continue to work with, we're in the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools Consortium, specifically with expanded learning. And so we currently have an active MOU with the expanded learning program at Sutter County. I'm seeking a revision of it so we can expend more funding till the end of the school year through the summer. Currently, we have ELOP funding through our district. We have carryover funding from 24, 25, 25, 26, and soon it'll be 26, 27 will be a new amount of funding we're getting, and it's significant. So we'd like to continue to work with Sutter County and able to use our funding with the consortium for the rest of this school year. I'll be bringing another MOU for next school year at one of the next 2 board meetings.
So is this like the funding, it's either we would have spent it on getting employees to do ELOP, right? Or we're just paying Sutter County to manage it essentially?
Yeah, we're partnering with them. They're working with us very closely on program development, professional development, assemblies. Our ELOP staff is huge. So the amount of funding the state of California gives the ELOP program to school districts is significant.
I wish it was equivalent in the classroom, right? Like how much we're overfunded.
And it's important to note, this is a restricted funding. This does not at all impact 55% at all. This is strictly just for after school funding.
I have to say it's been a good partnership. I think our staff has really enjoyed partnering, and then also the benefits of the programs on those campuses.
Well, it allows the rollover
Yeah.
by being able to utilize Sutter County. Otherwise, we would have to be spending it every year. There's no rollover. Am I correct with
Yes, you would give all the money. You would give the money back to the state.
that? Yeah. Whereas you just deposit it. Yeah. But that I would like to see, like, just in future us expend that money even further on activities for kids. Like we do gaming trucks or whatever, like, you know, different things, like throw it back at the kids, and I think that'll get even more engagement and hopefully help with the attendance rate.
We have done gaming trucks this past year. We've done for intercession. This is the first year we hired certificated teachers. A lot of them to do like Shark Tank. I was actually there for Shark Tank. It was actually really fun. So we now started hiring teachers for after school to do really fun, engaging activities with the kids. One of our teachers, Kaylin Cross, phenomenal. He's one of our discovery teachers. For the intercession week, he did. The guy has like 30,000 credentials, so he did a visual arts week with the kids. But they got to do art with their primary grades. So we're really trying to expand it and use the funding directly towards the kids.
But after school tutoring wouldn't qualify for ELOP,
It
or would it?
qualifies, yes it does. You have to sign in. You have to be actually part of the ELOP program. So the parents have to sign their kids up for the program. And we have to make sure we have documentation that they're signed up for the program, but they don't have to go every day. So if we go like Tuesday and Thursday, it's appropriate, but they have to actually be in the program.
But we can have our certificated staff
Yes.
do tutoring and then pay it out of
Yes.
the ELOP.
And those are really effective ways to use the money.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Ha! The more.
On a motion by member Dami, second by member Bonslet, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, approval of architectural and service design agreement.
So we essentially talked about this in the presentation, but it is the actual approval of the architectural contract to move forward with on remodel of the district office.
I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
On a motion by member Bonslet, second by member Ciociola, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Was that an opposition?
Yeah.
With 5 yeses, 1 no by member Dami, member Pretty is absent. F, first reading of proposed revision to board policy.
A lot of board policies. So I bring forward a series of board policies. We did get a little behind on board policies in the transition between Laura and finding Amanda. And so we bring policies and this is first read. So if you have questions of policy, there are a lot of HR and a lot of service type policies. Please reach out to Tino or Amanda if you have, Jordan, if you have any questions, and these will come out for the second read at the next meeting.
Why, just out of curiosity, why are they broken up into June and August? Is that when they go into effect, or Cause it's June 2025.
So that's when CSP released them, so you can see how far back they are in terms of getting them done. And so we're trying to get some move forward because some of these need to be in our student handbook and to parent notifications by July 1. So my apologies that we did get behind. So that's the date. So they were released by CSBA in June 2025 and August. And so that's why there's a bulk, and then there'll be another bulk in June.
Any questions? Okay. Board reports, information? Anything?
Yes, I attended the board meeting for the Yuba City Charter School. And last Friday, I didn't go to this, but last Friday they had their festival, and they had students who actually produced their own film for the festival. And they had, they're doing a lot of dance things at the school, and the kids are really liking it. And of course they have their band, music is a big deal. Their graduation is on May 28th at St. Andrew Presbyterian Church. Kindergarten is at 3, 8th grade is at 5, and high school is at 7. And that's it. Oh, and then they're working on their getting their stuff together for next year. New classes that they're thinking of offering and things. They're thinking of doing soccer for the little kids. They lose a lot of their they can't have a soccer program because most of their kids are already in like a what do they call them?
Recreation.
League.
Yeah.
They're in leagues, like soccer leagues. I guess they're pretty good.
Soccer.
Yeah, traveling soccer leagues. They're pretty good soccer players. And so, in order to get a soccer program together, they're thinking, well, let's start with the little kids. Let's start, and then maybe they'll work into a soccer program as they get older. So that's it.
Any written communications from the public? No. Okay, comments from employee reps.
Good evening, board members, staff, community, if anybody's out there. Mercedes Geraldo representing our classified staff. I have a nice little list here and then I add to it, so I'm trying to make it flow right. So first I want to congratulate or thank all of our certificated staff that are in the room or maybe out online, because last week was not only the Day of the Teacher, but Teacher Appreciation Week. Next week we go into our Classified School Employees Week, which was established in 1986 on a State Senate Bill 1552, which establishes the third week in May as classified employees. So to our classified staff that's in the room, and retired Londa, because she's a classified retiree, thank you for all that we've done out there. Our theme this year is Students Thrive Where Classified Works, which is a really impactful theme, because when we think about what we do and how we support our certificated staff and our students, it's quite important work. And if you noticed on King Avenue's slide, more than half of that staff was classified. It used to be that we had about 100 less bargaining unit members than the certificated staff, but now I think we have more bargaining unit members than the certificated staff. So that shows the impact that we do on our campuses and in our school district. I was, training's music to my ears, right? And to hear that King Avenue makes sure that all their staff is trained on trauma-informed practices is wonderful, because our kids come to us with so much trauma and we don't even know what it is, and you can't see it on their face. So here's this internal trauma, and they come in contact with everyone from our school bus drivers, our custodians, our cafeteria workers, our teachers, our office staff, our paraeducators, and if we don't know how to address that trauma that they are expressing. Sometimes they act out on it. We're doing a disservice. So I really do appreciate that King Avenue is making sure that all their staff is trained on that, and that they include all their paras on their academic trainings. And I think that's a model that if all sites did that, we would have a much stronger para-educator staff. Our paras are great. We have them all the way from the ELOP, which, as Tina says, there's tons of them. And then we have our support just in ELD and math, that sort of thing, and our special ed paras. But the more that we're trained, the better we can support those teachers and support those students in classrooms. So I do appreciate that when I hear that people are doing training. So I'm looking forward to our second retiree of the year next meeting.
I'd like to introduce myself formally. I'm Trinity Counts. I am now the president of YCTA and will be fulfilling the rest of the term through next school year. A little bit about myself, if you don't know, I'm a product of both Yuba-Sutter and Marysville Joint Unified Schools, having gone to Browns Valley, Foothill, Elmhurst, LA, Yuba Gardens, Lyndhurst, Gray, April Lane, Lincoln, and 3 schools outside of this area. I had dysfunctional parents, I apologize. But I'm happy to say that I have 4 beautiful children that have gone through Yuba City Unified. Corey, my oldest, is 28. He went to Terbuena and River Valley. He is now a heavy-duty operator mechanic journeyman at Caltrans. So the auto shop program at Yuba City definitely helped him out in that piece. So congratulations to Arturo, who has already retired. My daughter Katie currently subs, and she finally just now got into the nursing program. She was Terbuena, Riverbend, then Yuba City. She couldn't make up her mind. We love her. Jackson, my 3rd child, went to Terbuena, Riverbend, and then River Valley with me because I was finally there. And he just got accepted into the fire department program out at Yuba College. So I'm very excited to see where he's going. And then my baby Anna is a junior. It's really sad to know that my baby is here. She's Riverbend and then River Valley, and so I'm excited to see what she will do later. I spent 10 years teaching at Lyndhurst High School, which was my alma mater. I was a student during the shooting. I graduated in 1994, and it took me a few years to fall into teaching. Mr. Prager out at Yuba College was one that told me I always had a knack for helping to explain the underlying steps. And so I kind of fell into teaching. And my Mr. Blake, my math teacher who became my department chair, which I became his department chair, is my mentor out there, and I still talk to him dearly. But after 10 years at Lyndhurst, I chose to move to Yuba City Unified to continue to teach AVID because Lyndhurst High School is dropping the AVID program, and Doreen was at that time pushing AVID and wanting the whole entire district to go AVID-wide, so I made that jump 12 years ago, and I've been with Yuba City Unified for 12 years now. So I'm excited to continue serving in a different capacity and using my leadership skills in a newer capacity. Some things from tonight. I was really excited to see King Avenue. I've got quite a few friends who work at King Avenue, and they love their children. King Avenue was a school that I used as one of my case studies whenever I was working on my admin credential, and so I know how hard they work at that school. I also really liked that they had a defined consequences in their classroom managed. It's really important for students to know if I do something, this is the action that's going to happen, and I feel like we've lost that a little bit. Like we don't have those defined, and I understand there are exceptions, but at the same time, students need to know where the boundaries are and what they are. I really appreciated her teaching the students how to regulate, and I'm hoping that as they grow into middle school students and high school students, they continue to use those tools in their back pocket. It was really cool to see the vision of the new district site. I'm excited to see how that is renovated and comes out and to be something that is ours and not rented space. As we renovate around the district as well, some asks that I might have is that maybe we don't, these are things I've heard, maybe we don't jackhammer the concrete outside of classrooms while class is going on. It's a little hard to teach. Maybe people who are cleaning for different events have identification on campus that are outside resources and not our custodians. So that whenever we ask them, who are you? They're like, I'm here to clean, but they don't tell you who they are, type of thing. It's just a little concerning whenever I hear those things come from our different members. And then I'm excited. I spoke with Jordan about seeing our new certificated hirings. The end of the year is stressful enough to add to the stress of not knowing who's coming in, especially admin, and who's going where. It's like this big shuffle game. So I'm excited to see those keep coming in each week that we are able to process them. And lastly, I would like to thank all of those who are celebrated in May. It seems like they take May and they clump all the people, nurses, bus drivers, food service workers. Let's put everybody who works really hard in May and celebrate them. So I would like to celebrate all of those people because it is a job of service and I appreciate everything they do. So thank you.
And I had her oldest in my 3rd grade class at Sherpoina 20 years ago.
I know. He's got a 10-year reunion this year. 10-year reunion from River Valley, so I know.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Comments from board members?
Well, I just had a question based on Ms. Count's report. Do we have a process for offsite vendors as far as safety regulation? Like I know when I go visit a campus, I've got to check in with the office and get, stickered and everything. Yeah. So when we have offsite vendors, construction workers, cleaners, whatever,
They're supposed to check in
do
and
we?
get a
Do
badge.
they have the same?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Check in the office and.
Display, have it just like.
Is it your pass?
And I'll follow up, make sure that protocol's being followed, but
Yeah.
that's
Every single time.
Because I love that there's confrontation when there isn't. Like, like, who are you and what are you doing here? I love that. That's awesome.
Okay, good. I've been taking the Masters in Governance classes, and I've completed 4 of them. They were kind of out of sequence, so I already took 5, but I'm taking 4 this month, Zoom. But I was able to take 3 of them in person, which was really awesome. But I just want to tell you all what phenomenal classes these have been. They told us at the last class, which was the Community Relations and Advocacy class, that they can come here and actually they offer an on-site, like a special board meeting, and they will do one of these classes. And one of the things that, and I made a copy of this, and I don't know, maybe you guys have already read this, but it's called the Lighthouse Phase. It's an Iowa School Boards Foundation Lighthouse Phase 2. And one of the things I'm always interested in as a new board member is student achievement and the interventions that we're providing. Well, one of the courses that they offer is student learning and achievement. And I would love to have a special board meeting and have them come, and I talked to Doreen about it. She said that they have done this in the past, and I just feel like it would be really worthwhile to have them come here and have a special board meeting and have them do some instruction for us. The first one was Foundations of Effective Governance and Setting Direction, and that was another phenomenal one. How does the board work together to set the direction for this board, and how do we work together, and how can we be more effective as a governing board? And anyway, I just wanted to tell you that I'm doing this, and it's been phenomenal, and I recommend it to anybody on a board to do these classes. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, comments from superintendent?
Wait, I have one really quick. Is that okay? Next Thursday, I will be traveling to Martinez to go to the celebration for our well, not celebration, but memorial for our choir. I'm going as a representative of Yuba City Unified, also as a fellow. I was a classmate and at school when this happened. My husband's stepfather was the principal of the high school when it happened. Look, I'm getting choked up. So just pray for me next Thursday. It's going to be a tough day.
You bet.
And if anybody wants to go.
I'll be gone.
Perfect.
So to follow up on that, that is on May 21st, it is the 50th anniversary of the bus crash. And so there is the memorial at Martinez, and so Londa and Harjot will be representing Yuba City Unified. Yuba City High School is also having a memorial. Corey Kirstein, along with Esperanza, along with Jan,
Robert Tate.
Thank you. I was going Hayden, Robert, Robert Tate, have been working together to do that. And then also on May 23rd, there is also a memorial at the Veterans Hall. So Jan is leading that along with some others, and so we will be working to provide some of our staging, and maintenance is helping with that, but they are. So it's 21st and 23rd. So we're getting the word out on social media about the Yuba City High School event. Also, I'm just going to kind of go through. There is a lot in May. So I just want to share that yesterday was the Yuba City Induction Program celebration, and Michelle Schofstall and crew, Amy, I'm going to call her Matson, yeah, and Lori and Vicki put an event on to celebrate our teachers who are clearing their credential and those that are still in the induction program. So that's an annual event, and just a fun afternoon. So also on the May 14th at 3 o'clock, we do have a government liaison meeting here in the district office. On May 15th, which is Friday, the Wizard of Oz is being performed at AK. If you remember when they came, they talked about it at 6 o'clock. And on May 15th, Friday, 7 o'clock, 40 of our early college students will be graduating from Yuba College with their AA, even before they get their high school diploma. So that will be a fun evening as well. I think, Harjot, you're attending with me.
Finally walking in as a college graduate.
There you go. And then on May 26th, which is our next board meeting at 5 o'clock, we will have our retiree reception. So that's always a fun. And I think there's quite a few retirees going to be attending. 23, both classified and certificated. So for family and friends. So this will be a room packed. So that's
I have one more thing. Yes. I am following, I don't know if anybody else is, Rocco online. Rocco Kicks Rocks. Wow.
Yeah.
Poor guy, and his knee hurts, so he's dealing with a knee issue.
He started at 90 degree the first day, and then it dropped to 38 degrees in rain. And
so Rocco Kicks Rocks on Instagram, if you want to follow his little adventure, it's pretty cool. So every few days, he'll have like 3 or 4 videos.
It does not look fun.
No, and he ran into a huge rattlesnake.
Oh, what? I missed that.
And a trail dog.
Yeah, he's on an adventure.
So what is his goal?
To walk the Pacific Trail.
To finish it.
Mexico to Canada.
You can't find it. You're gonna have to send it to me.
There was that guy back in the 80s, the entire transcontinental, like coast to coast, Peter something or other.
And I love that his kids can follow him and watch his adventure. Anyway, just think about him. He's having a little hard time right now.
Is he alone?
No, but he has somewhere. They say the trail is never empty. You always are running across people.
Like the snakes and bears and
yeah,
other
no,
critters.
Oh
Exactly. Mercedes, oh my.
Perfect. Our next board meeting is going to be May 26th, open session at 5.
I make a motion to adjourn.
So move, second, I mean.
Motion by member Nami, second. So all those in favor?
Tuesday on Government Watch, you can support or sponsor. Help keep the community aware with Yuba-Sutter.LIVE.
Scheduled LiveStreams. It's the truth that comes through.